which is to find a house below market value. Normally I laugh at that because we're asking the real estate agent to do the hardest thing about this whole business for us. You know, and it doesn't just usually happen. Okay? But now, in a buyer's market, you're going to see some of that. Now's the time. Again, your resources will govern which lead generation methods you'll use. If you've got time, do the prospecting. If you've got money, do the advertising. Do a little of both. I'd like to touch on networking. Real estate agents know this, that your network brings you more deals than anything else. More than prospecting, more than advertising, and it's free. Begs the question, what is that all about? Well, it's about talking to people that talk to a lot of people, like your hairdresser, like your barber. And it's about getting the word out that this is what you do. I have bought more houses this way. I put an offer on a house in Barton Creek last week. It's a house that was listed for $1.2 million. I offered $363,000. Okay, I found this deal through my network. A friend of mine is a friend of the lawyer that's in charge of the estate. Called me up, said a guy passed away 2 weeks ago. The heirs are out of town. It's got 10 years deferred maintenance. And it had more years of deferred maintenance when the guy bought it 10 years ago. And it's a funky 80s house, 5,600 square feet with a 500 square foot back house. Okay? These deals are out there, okay? But it's because I'm always telling people, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do. What do I tell them? What's the message? What do I tell them I'm looking for? Disasters. Disasters. Why? Yeah, and I know I'm beating a dead horse here, which I usually do, but if I tell them I'm looking for rundown houses, you know what I'm going to get? I'm going to get dozens and dozens of phone calls from people that have sort of a pretty house that might be kind of a good bargain for me and my wife to move into, but it's far from qualifying as an investment deal. I don't want those calls. I want the calls from the properties that are really going to qualify. So I have to be overly dramatic. I have to say, if it's a disaster, call me. If it's not a disaster, don't call me. Because their perception of disaster, right? You know, it's nothing like what I'm used to, those first couple pictures I showed you. So tell them, say, you know, everyone has their niche, but I specialize in disasters. You know, so you'll get known as, oh, he's the guy that buys those disasters, and you'll get calls that way. I got a call from my roofer's wife, whose friend was divorced, and both the husband and wife moved back to their home states of Iowa, and this property on the lake waterfront was just sitting there, and I mean, nice little house. I bought it for $28,000, and it's the first time I've ever not fixed a house up and just resold it, because there were just so many people I knew in the business that would buy it for $75,000 from me in a heartbeat that way, which they did, and fixed it up and sold it for $200,000 or $300,000. So, but all through my network. Even my golden retriever found a house for me. I'm serious. And here's how that happened. Well, it's a funny story, but it has nothing to do with networking. So my wife and I are on vacation with his, and Abby, the golden retriever, stayed with our in-laws who live here in town. And we live at 4163, and my father-in-law thought it would be nice to get Abby a nice little collar, with the numbers on it, you know, for safety. So if she runs away, we could get her back easily. But he made the mistake of, instead of 4163, it was 4136 is what he put on there. So he reversed those last two numbers, and when Abby escaped one day, where did we go look? Obviously 4136, because we knew that she had the collar with the reversed numbers, and someone was bound to have brought her back to 4136. So I knock on the door. The lady probably in her 70s, with rollers in her hand, and a ladder up on this high vaulted ceiling in the background, and she's completely alone. And I'm saying, ma'am, what are you doing? She's up on this tall ladder. She said, well, me and my husband have to move back to our home state, and something about grandchildren or something. And she said, we just need to sell the house, and he's already moved, and I've got to fix it up. And I said, well, I'm a builder, and I think I can help you out. Now, I didn't actually not buy that house for me, but I bought it for a friend. Okay, so tell everybody. I bought the house right next door to us. I told our neighbors when we moved in, hey, if you ever want to sell this house, because I love the house, Carrie and I both love their house a lot. So if you ever want to sell this house, give us a call. They knocked on our door. They said, hey, we want to sell this house. We've just got our dream house built, and we're ready to move. We didn't even know that they were building. And I said, well, I'm probably not your best buyer. I can offer you $240,000. The house is worth about $315,000, $340,000 fixed up nice. And so I told them, I gave them the steps. Here's what I want you to do. Here's how I want you to list it in Craigslist. Here's how you can avoid all the hassles. 4 days later, they said, nah, we just want to sell it. They were ready just to get rid of it. That's how these people are. They just, when you're ready, you're ready. And you know that, and I know that. Right? When you're ready, you're ready. So she sold it to me for $240,000. Me and Carrie and the kids fixed it up together. It was a fun little project. And we sold it to our new neighbors who we love for $315,000. So, you know, it's just keep telling people that this is what you do. Yes?
On the networking, do you reward those who bring you leads?
Absolutely, yeah. With at least $500, if not higher. You know, I think if the Barton Creek deal goes through, I can give my friend Greg maybe $1,000 or $2,000. But these deals are out there. I got another house through my network. Okay, well, that same story. The husband of the wife of the person next door to me, she was so enamored with the whole process of how we did this transaction. She was so happy. Her ex-husband had a house on Mount Vanilla that we bought this year. Bought it for $208,000, sold it for $375,000, put $20,000 into it. He was just ready to sell. He'd been living with his girlfriend for all of these years. They were going to get married. She was going to move in with her. He was a bachelor for 20 years in this house. He was ready to sell it. He was able to just walk away. We cleaned everything up, and that was the most profitable deal we've ever done. So these deals are out there. Tell people the network is very, very powerful. That's how you find houses. Again, abbreviated version. All right, there's more in the book. And can I move on? Yeah. All right. I don't have too much time. How to know how much to pay for any house. I love this psychedelic rainbow. This is the runner-up. All right, we're going to spend the rest of the time on this because you're going to walk out today knowing how to make an offer on these houses, all right? How much time do I have, Tank? Perfect. I had a husband and wife real estate team in my office not too long ago, and they said, we've got a client who wants to be an investor, and we're helping them with this house, and they're going to buy it, and we're really excited because it's their first house. And I said, oh, great, let's run the deal on my grease board and see how much your client's going to make. And so they said the selling price was $225,000, the buy price was $185,000, the fix-up costs were $24,000, and the profit $16,000. And they said, yeah, we know it's not that much profit, but it's their first deal, and they're really excited about it. And I said to them, well, that's not really all of the story. You're missing one of the biggest parts.